Hey everyone, it's great to see you all again. Today we are heading deep into the forests of the Mount Hood Wilderness area in search of a hidden waterfall. Join me as we cross rivers, navigate through rock fields, and venture further and further into the trees to capture some telephoto images of the beautiful Pacific Northwest. I hope you all enjoy. After unpacking my gear and setting up, I noticed that all of the different layers of the falls almost created a bunch of mini waterfalls cascading down the rocks. I really tried honing in on those details, and focusing on the tears of the falling water, I took out my 100 to 400 lens, and here's what I captured. One thing that you may notice throughout the video is my settings being a little bit unusual. Unfortunately, I did not have an ND filter on me at the time of the recording, so I had to make do. A little bit more on that later.
One big thing to keep in mind when you're shooting waterfalls or water in general is to, there's a rainbow coming up there, is to use a circular polarizer. So basically what that's going to do is going to take out reflections of light on your subject. So let me show you kind of what I'm looking at here. There we go. Right there. The rocks are shiny right there, as you can see, but if I turn the circular polarizer, it's going to cut those reflections out. And honestly, I played around with it a little bit, and I almost prefer having the reflections. It almost gives them a little bit more definition in the shapes. So play around with it a little bit and see what you kind of like, but looks like that rainbow is kind of intensifying, so I'm going to try to capture that.
Arguably, the most important thing to keep in mind when shooting waterfalls is shutter speed. It can make a huge difference on how your image looks and feels. A longer exposure, like a shutter speed of 1/3 of a second to 2 seconds, is going to give you a much different look than a shutter speed of something like 1/2000th of a second. Even trying a shutter speed of 15 to 30 seconds will give you a different look. Try all of them and see what you like. Personally, I tend to lean towards the range of 1/3 of a second to 1 second exposures, but let me know in the comments what your favorite shutter speed is to use when shooting waterfalls. As I sat there for longer and longer, I just got to watch the light change in front of my eyes. At one point, the sun started peeking through the trees, just creating beautiful specks of light onto the waterfall.
Another huge mistake that I find myself doing sometimes, and a lot of other people, is not going to the same location twice. I was here Saturday today. I was here Monday. It was an overcast sky. I got okay photos, but ultimately I didn't get exactly what I wanted out of the experience. And so coming back and staying a little bit longer at a different day, different weather, it really can just change the way your mind thinks, and also can change the photos that you get in multiple ways. In just that you'll get different photos, you'll have a new mindset, and also conditions are going to be different. Things are going to look different. You're going to see things differently. So just keeping that in mind, just because even if you get a photo that you're super proud of from a certain location, going back, it's always going to be different, especially when doing landscape photography. So just going back and try to shoot it again and come up with something different is a huge thing. Now that I packed up and I'm heading back down the trail, I realized that it's so important just to spend time at the location you're trying to shoot, if possible. I mean, really make the time to stay at a location. Like I mentioned, I was here Monday and I felt rushed because I needed to get back for something, and I had a 3-hour drive after the hike to get back to something. And I just felt like my mind couldn't settle on a photo, and I felt like I was pressured to get good photos. So having a day to just spend, I spent 6.5 hours at this waterfall, and I just got to see how the sun went in between clouds and through the trees, and it created the rainbows. And then I just got to really know the falls and how it moved and play with my settings. And it's just a really important thing that every time that I just come out and sit somewhere and really can focus on getting photos that I like, those are the times I come away with images that you all see, and I post because I'm proud of them. And I think that's just a really important thing to keep in mind, because I used to just be one of those people who would show up at a location at sunrise. I used to be one of those people who would show up at a location right as the sun is gonna set, expecting, looking at the time on your phone, when is the sunset, and showing up around that time, maybe a little bit early, and then being disappointed that I didn't get a photo. When really I didn't get to learn the landscape. I didn't really get to know what was around me. And to be honest, how I want my images to be is how I felt in that moment. And if I didn't spend enough time to really feel something about that location, just feel like I'm not going to be able to portray that in an image. So really funny, actually. So I don't have an ND filter with me, and some of those photos got really bright, and so actually I have this lens cap kind of clip-on rubber band thing that clips onto my lens so I don't lose my lens cap. And I actually just use that to kind of attach another polarizer to my polarizer that I had on my lens, so that I could get it a little bit darker. And actually, in a way, I think it kind of helped, although maybe hurt more than helped in most ways, but it got me to where I needed. But I think it may have helped a little bit in exaggerating the rainbow a little bit. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, so that's a little interesting fun tip if you forgot or don't have an ND filter. That's a little tip if you need one. And actually, I had a bigger polarizer than the one I was using on my lens, 72 mil, and then the one I had on my lens was 67. So actually, if you don't have anything to attach the lenses together, by the end, when I got frustrated with it falling off the end, I actually just held it in front of my lens as I took the photo with the self timer. And so I just held it still, and since it was bigger, I had a little bit of wiggle room, so I didn't have to be completely still. But I should probably just get ND filters.
So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you learned something from this week's video. If you didn't already know, I do have my own Discord server where the entire community can come together, share photos, and give feedback, and then every month I'm going to select a winner for a monthly contest. Other than that, if you could subscribe to my weekly newsletter for weekly updates, and then for vlog, blog, and other video updates if you could like and follow my Facebook page. But other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.